Hey guys, so here's part 2 of the section 2 notes. We are now going to solve a variable on both sides. So notice here that our variable is going to be on both sides of the equation, okay? Now when we do this, you have multiple ways of starting. What I like to do is always start with the variable. Try to get that on one side and then move everything else to the other side. Now what I also like to do is try to keep the variable positive if necessary, just so I don't make any little mistakes later on when I solve. So what I'm going to do here first is I notice I have 7p and 9p. Well, I'm going to move the 7p to the other side by subtracting. So remember, if the number is positive, okay, you make it negative to move it to the other side. Now, when I do that, I'm left with 13 equals, I do 9p minus 7p because they are like terms. That gives me 2p minus 5. Now it becomes just a multi-step equation, so I'm trying to get p all by itself. So my next thing is I need to add 5 to both sides. So I get 18 equals 2p. Now to get rid of the 2, I divide both sides by it, and I get p equals 9. Okay, let's try the next one. So we are going to solve 3 times 5x minus 8 equals negative 2 minus x plus 7 minus 12x. Okay, I'm going to kind of help you get started here, and then I'm going to have you guys try this on your own. So the first thing is we need to distribute anything we see into the parentheses. So we're going to distribute the 3 to the 5x and minus 8, and then the negative 2 to the negative x and 7. So now I'm left with 15x and then minus 24 equals, now be careful with negatives. We have negative 2 times negative x. That gives us actually a positive 2x, then minus 14 minus 12x. Okay, now what I would like you to do is go ahead and pause the video and try this on your own. Okay, let's see what you got. Now the first thing I'm going to do is actually combine like terms. So my 2x and my negative 12x. So now I have 15x minus 24 equals negative 10x minus 14. So now, what I'm going to do so I can try to keep this positive, I'm going to add 10x to both sides. Okay. That means I now have, I'm going to bring this over here, so I have room, I have now 25x minus 24 equals negative 14. Now, I need to get that 25 all by itself, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add the 24 to both sides. So I get 25x equals 10, and now I divide both sides by 25. Now make sure when you do this, okay, it is actually easier to leave this in fraction form. We just need to make sure we simplify it. So we have 10 over 25. Know that 5 goes into both of those. So 5 goes into 10 2 times, and 5 goes into 25 5 times. Now, you can write this as a decimal if you wanted to. Whenever you're doing problems for your homework, if it's a terminating decimal, meaning the decimal stops, that's fine to write. But if you're having a fraction and either the decimal repeats or never stops, leave your answer as a fraction, okay? So you'll see that in the problems when you do the homework assignment. So you could do 2/5, or it could be 0.4 as your answer here. Okay. Okay, let's do our last problem. This is going to be dealing with fractions, so be careful here, okay? So whenever we're doing fractions, we do want to make sure we have like terms, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change each of these fractions, if I need to, so they all have the same denominator. So in order to know if they have all the same denominator, we need to see what is the number that 3, 6, and 2 can go into. Well, that answer is 6. So 3 can go into 6 2 times, 6 can go into 6 once, and 2 can go into 6 3 times. So what I need to do is I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by a number. So in order to do 3 to get to 6, I need to multiply that by 2. Now, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm going to multiply the top by 2 as well. Now, for my second fraction, it is already a 6, so I don't need to change that. My last fraction, I know I have to do 2 times 3 to give me 6, so I have to multiply the top also by that. So rewriting this, I have now 4 over 6x plus 5, 6 equals, okay, and we have this x. Now we also might want to change this x, because notice there'll be a 1. So to change it so we all have the same denominator, I'm going to multiply this by 6. Now this is going to be 1 over 1, so I need to multiply the top and bottom. So it's going to be 6 over 6x, okay? Then minus 3, 6. So this allows us to have all the same denominators and make it a little bit easier for us to add and subtract. Because in order to do that, you have to have a common denominator. Okay, as I said before, I'm always going to try to keep my fraction or keep my coefficient in front of the variable positive. So I'm going to subtract 4, 6x from both sides, okay? Now, when I do that, of course, this cancels out. I still have the 5, 6 over here. Now, when we add or subtract, we only combine the numerators. So I'm going to do 6 minus 4, and that's going to give me 2, and then my denominator stays exactly the same. And then I have minus 3, 6. Okay, now it becomes a multi-step equation here. So my next step is I'm going to add 3, 6 to both sides. Okay, once again, whenever you're adding or subtracting a fraction, combine the numerators. So 5 plus 3 gives me 8. My denominator stays the same, equals 2, 6x. Okay? Now, we kind of already did something like this, where if we have a fraction, we have multiple ways of getting rid of this fraction. Either divide by it. Now, if you do that, make sure you use parentheses in your calculator or you get the wrong answer. We can multiply by the reciprocal or take this by 2 steps. I'm going to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal just so it's a little bit easier here. So I'm going to do 6 over 2. So these cancel. I need to multiply this also by 6 over 2. Okay? So I multiply the numerator, 6 times 8. That's going to give me, I think, 48 there. And then we want to do 2 times 6, and of course that gives us 12. Okay. Now, simplify our fraction. We do 48 divided by 12. So always make sure you have a simplified fraction. That actually gives us 4. And that's going to be our final answer there. Okay, make sure if you have any questions that you contact me, and make sure you work on the homework assignment. See you guys later.